The book gets binomial expansion really hard. There are three of them. 3 lessons on binomial expansion. This is part 2. Unfortunately, it never actually tells you what you can use it for. And so on the 3rd lesson, we'll do a application of binomial probability. It's pretty great stuff, actually. If you're maybe a gambler or a professional or any. That's actually useful in a lot of cases. Okay? It's useful. Take my word for it, all right? Actually, let's lay the foundation real quick. So if I told you, you're a baseball player, yeah?
No, I like baseball.
Oh, football, okay. You play, how about that?
I played soccer. Yeah,
basketball, okay. Actually, let's go here. You're all random guessers on tests now. Just basically. So, say there are 5 answer choices and there are 5 questions, yeah? What is the probability of randomly guessing 3 correct?
100%.
No.
325.
No.
1 in 125.
Okay, so let's go here. What's the probability of getting a correct guess on 1 question?
1 in 5.
1 in 5, okay. How many different ways, though, can this all be arranged? Now, that's a little more complicated. So you're right, 1 in 5. And what's the probability of failure? 4 in 5, okay. And then, as far as how many questions, you could have success, 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 fail, fail, and that would be 3 correct. Or you could have success, fail, success, success, fail, and that would be 3 correct, right? So there's all these different ways to arrange them. Now,
does it matter the order, though?
So and that's the other part of the binomial theorem, which we'll talk about next lesson. But the order doesn't matter, which makes it kind of a combination idea, yeah? Now, all those ideas, they are in here. Just remember this for later, that when I say, hey, binomial expansion, A and B, they're not just A and B. This is really success and failure. Probability of success and failure, 1 outcome, 2 outcomes. This is a big idea of math. Right now, we're just trying to build up the skills to, I'm just talking now. Kate, where's the calculator page? Just I need that. I'm going to have to give you the calculator page tomorrow or something, because I cannot find it right now. Do you have the calculator page with you? I cannot find where I put it, quite frankly. So I might have to have you do it later. All right, sorry, it'll just take about 10 minutes tomorrow. All right, sorry. So my point is that there's a big use to this coming, and once we get it nailed down, you'll be good to go. All right, so remember back when we did something like a plus b to the 5th, how do we do the coefficients? Pascal's triangle. Okay, so let's go here and finish that. 1, 4. To get to the 5th, we're going to have to do more, right?
Yeah.
What's the pattern to your little brother? If your little brother was learning this, you would teach him?
Take the 2 numbers that above it and just combine them.
Combine them in addition to get the next row, yes? All right, so I would need to continue until I got to this row where I had a second item of 5 to see the coefficients for a plus b to the 5th. You with me?
Yes.
All right. Now, that means the terms would be 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, and 1. Yay? Notice as far as the term numbers, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In a plus b to the 5th, there are actually 6 terms. Now that's because b starts at 0. We'll talk about that in a minute. How many terms would a plus b to the 20th?
21.
21. Okay, how many terms would a plus b to the 50th have? 51. All right, so there's always one more term than the power. Now, what are the exponents of a as you go? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And the exponents of b? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now use that here when finding a random term. Just to review. Now, if I asked you for the 17th term of a plus b to the 28th, okay? Hi. The first thing you do is use Pascal's triangle for the coefficient. Now, when you go to find the two variables, you don't do a first, you do b first. You find the b exponents. Now, the b exponent is easiest to find because it counts up. You can see that in the first term, b is 0. Second term, b is 1. Third term, b is 2. The exponent of b is always what? What do you notice about the connection between the exponent of b and the term number? 1 less than the term number. 1 less than the term number. So if I asked you for what's the 7th term of a plus b to the 20th, you'd say it's b to the 7th term of a plus b to the 20th. 7th term would be b to the 6th, right? Are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay. After you know the b exponent, you're going to need to know the a exponent. Find a exponent by, now come over here and notice that every time you add the exponents in a problem, the exponents of a and b add to 5. The exponents of a and b add to 5. The exponents of a and b add to 5. They always add to 5. So if you know the b exponent, then can't you easily find the a exponent? So for example, if I said a plus b to the 20th, and I wanted the 7th term, find b's exponent first. The 7th term would be b to the 6th, and you know the exponents need to add to 20, so it'd have to be 14. So you can find the a exponent by total power minus the b exponent. You down? All right. Now, pause that. That's a problem we're going to get to in number 3. We'll come back to that skill in number 3, but let's go review the stuff you should know. If I do number 1, x plus y to the 5th, what are the, I have the coefficient row already. Do you agree? Do you agree? Okay. So, the first term is coefficient of 1, and what variables? X to the 5th, y to the 0, which you can obviously leave out altogether. And the next coefficient is 5x to the 4th y. You get the idea. Would you finish that, please, for me real quick, and we'll make sure you remember your basics. All right, do we agree with that? All right. Now, part of the lesson of today is what if it's sloppier, uglier? If it's uglier, use parentheses instead of each A and B. And then we'll plug in the ugliness in those parentheses in a second, right? So imagine if it was just A plus B to the 4th, right? What's the coefficient row we look at if it was A plus B to the 4th? Agreement, yeah? Okay, so the first term, what would it be? 1A to the 4th, but instead of an A to the 4th, I'm going to say parentheses to the 4th. And in those parentheses go What is the first term?
2a squared.
2a squared, all right? Then the next one, the coefficient is 4. We put a parentheses for a parentheses for b. What is the exponent of a in the next term? 3. And the exponent of b? 1, right? Then we go a cubed b for the next term. But in place of the a parentheses, we put 2a squared. And in place of the b parentheses, not x cubed, negative x cubed. The negative has to be taken with it. Okay, the next parentheses, what's the coefficient? 6, parentheses, parentheses. Now, what's the exponent of a? 2, and the exponent of b? 2, and in place of the a parentheses, 2a squared in the b parentheses. X cubed or negative x cubed? Negative x cubed. Plus, talk to me, what's the next one? 4, blank, blank, a's parentheses exponent? 1, b's parentheses exponent? And again, put in the a, 2a squared, and the b, negative x cubed. And the last term, 1, blank to the 0 if you like, and then just b to the 4th, and that is negative x cubed. Unfortunately, then we got to do some cleanup. So, what is 2 to the 4th? 16. What is a squared to the 4th? Do we multiply or add? Which one is it?
Or no, it's
A squared to the 4th means a squared times itself 4 times, yeah?
Yeah.
So how many a's do I have? I have 8, so what do I do? Multiply them. Multiply. 16a to the 8. Plus, all right, let's talk, actually not plus, let's do the sign first. Positive or negative? Negative, because we have a negative to an odd power, that's a negative. What's 2 cubed times 4? 32. What's a squared cubed to the 6th? And what is x cubed to the 1st? Cubed. Are we good with the second term? Okay, third term, sign. Positive. What is 2 squared times 6? 24. What is a squared squared? A to the 4th. And what is x cubed squared? X to the 6th. Next term, fourth term, sign. Negative. What is 4 times 2 to the 1st? 8. A to the 2nd, x to the 9th. And positive or negative? Positive. Notice the signs are alternating. X to the 12, right?
I have a question. Are
Yep.
we done? So
We're done with that one.
when it's like to like the negative x to the 3 times to the 1 first or whatever,
Uh-huh.
how come it's not first?
It is negative. I just put the negative in front. You what? Anytime this was to an odd power, I got a negative answer and I put the negative in front.
But then how come the actual equations does that matter?
What do you mean the actual equation?
Like the 2a's. Oh, just kidding.
Okay. Think of it like this. This is the same as if you said plus negative x cubed, and negative x cubed is the second term. Yeah? All right. Fourth term. Now we're going to use that idea. First of all, let's do the coefficients. For the fourth term in x to the 4th, or a plus b to the 4th, what's the fourth term's exponent? Or sorry, coefficient. 4. Do you agree this is the row we're going to look at? 1, 2, 3rd, 4th term is there. Okay? Okay. Now, here's where we use those notes up there. Remember, b, the second exponent starts at nothing and counts up. So when you get to the 4th term, it would be b to the 3rd. Remember, the powers have to add to 4, and therefore a's exponent must be 1. in place of a, parentheses, we put negative 3x, and b's parentheses 2y squared. Overall, what's the sign? Positive or negative? Negative. What's 4 times negative 3 times 2 to the third? It's fine. What's 2 times 3? 2 times 3 is 6, and times 4 is 24. And 24 times 3 is? Wait a second. Wait. Sorry, I misspoke. Okay, so try again. Is this 2 times 3 or 2 to the third? Sorry. 2 to the third is? 8. And 8 times, let's go 4 next. 8 times 4 is? 32. What's 32 times 3? 96. All right. X to the what? First, and Y to the? 6. All right. That's the idea. Times 12 what? No, I already took 4 times negative 3 times 2 cubed, all that together. And 6. There are 2 things that make numbers. There are 3. It's not 12. There should be no 12. Because the 2 also is a number, yeah? Okay. Are you with me? There are 3 numbers in here. There's this, and this.
So
You have to put all of it.
yeah, so I did 4, and then I did. I did like this.
Okay, but you're not done. So what's negative 12 times 8? Yeah, you can do it that way. Oh, yeah, you can still get negative 96. You're good. All right. Where did I put your... All right, what do you got? Cool. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Oh, thank you. How do you guess, Michelle?
I thought there was a different
Hello. Thank you. Hello. Perfecto. Thank you. You can do this. It's not hard. Shoo-be-doo. Is that a 3?
Yeah.
Doesn't look like a 3.
It's a 3.
Doesn't look like a 3.
Do I need to show you that it's a 3?
Work on your 3s. I'll get you some little line paper.
Okay, I can help you in this.
Hi. You're right there.
Oh, my notes, you might work, so it's just
Oh, you do, Paul. Okay, that's good.
drop it.
Why am I doing this?
And I got something different for the Y also. Alright, so I agree with coefficient and alright. So actually let's do this.
Oh, it's 10 times 3 times 3, so 3, right?
3 cubed, that's 3 is cubed, so
I just put my math wrong.
calculate for that. 200 times 4 plus 7 times
That?
3. Eric, did you fix it?
And can I have 99?
99.
J and then I also did one.
Alright, 99, you said 99 day 1?
So you're on the side.
Hi.
Thanks for this joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good job. Hi. No, it's just. Doing a good day. All right. Have a lovely day. Never mind. Don't leave. What am I talking about? Just out of it today.
When are we gonna go over the text?
Tomorrow. Actually, I'll let you see it today if I can figure out what my secret is. Yes. All righty.
I know it's like.
Oh, that's right. Hey there, I'll write you fast. I'll have you finish.
Is complement 180 or 90?
All right, Julia, so you said that? Okay. All right, cool. Is it all of them or just one? Okay. All right, so first do the triangle over here off the side so you get the coefficients. Yes. Yes, perfect. Okay, done? Yes. All right, cool. Now the coefficients, we should get something like 1 for 3 or something. All right, so just don't write anything yet. 1, 3, 3, 1. All right. Now, what would if it was, I understand the problem's not A plus B to the third, but let's keep it easy. If it was this clean, what would the A's and B's be each time? This, right? Right. Right. Okay. Now the only difference is that instead of A's and B's, you're going to have big ugly things, the zeros. You don't have to write. So in place of each of those A parentheses, in each A parentheses, this is where you can start writing. In each of those A parentheses, what are you going to write for this problem? What's A or the first term? So that's going to go in each of these A's places. It'll be 2A to the second, all cubed, and 2A to the second, and 2A to the second. Like that, yeah? Make sure you look at the sign in front too. So negative B cubed in each of these places, yeah? Does that make sense? So it's, if it helps you to do it just a, kind of a generic one, and then do it in the second step, do that might help. Let's simplify each two.
You're not going to do 1 for 3.
All right.
1 of 3.
James is up. And Stuart.